Sounds good.
I'm going to mute myself, Mr. Fox, so you can go ahead.
We are good, Michelle.
Perfect.
September.
Okay.
Dismiss. Mr. Fox, you are on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Good, good. Are we able to determine how many participants are in this Teams meeting at this point?
We have 69 attendees right now.
How many, Susan, off the top of your head, how many activity directors?
I had, well, there's 65, but I have a few extra that are charter. So I had over 70 people at my meeting earlier.
Okay, all right.
And they're still coming in.
Yeah. Now we're up to 70 something.
Yeah.
All right, we'll give it another minute as they come in, because they're coming in on the regular. So, and then we'll go ahead and get started. I'll start it up and turn it over to you.
Hello, everybody. Activities directors, welcome back. Hi, Mark.
Susan, can you hear?
FYI, everyone is on
Hi,
mute.
Susan.
Hi.
Hi, it's Mr. Mendez. I'm trying to get into the link, and it's saying that I don't have access to this organization.
You'll have to make sure you're signed in. Try to go into an incognito browser or sign into the Teams application with your Dade Schools login.
Okay.
Are you doing it through your Dade Schools?
I believe so. Let me see if I can sign out and
Susan, quite a few that's coming in now. Athletic coordinators.
Okay, I'm letting them in as I see them pop up.
Just seeing, how are you this morning? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you saw where I sent you where it says Mac.
Let's see here, I'm gonna go.
Okay, just don't go to the.
Can you mute everyone, Mr. Franklin?
Yes, sir.
Go.
And then unmute me.
Yes, sir. Oops, looks like I cannot unmute you individually. So you'll have to come
I
off.
unmuted myself. I got it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So it's a little different from Zoom, huh?
Yes, indeed, indeed. Although that feature is coming.
Got it.
Hold on, let me turn this one on so everybody can see. Are you guys seeing the together mode in your tenant?
I see what you're sharing. Yes.
Okay, and so you guys should have this option available to you. Good morning, everyone. See, look at that. Everybody happy, smiling faces. Good morning. Good morning. As we get more people in here. Now, imagining, of course, that look, I see a bunch of cameras coming on now, Michelle. That's the whole point, right?
Oh, everyone's in class now.
That's it. That's it. And part of this, and you see how it's starting to zoom out the number of people that put their cameras on, and that's a good thing. part of this conversation this morning is to make sure everybody that's joined us is kind of experiencing these things around Teams in general. So just so you can get a better understanding of not only just how activities, right, and the conversation we're specifically here to talk about this morning, but you guys have this available to you as a district. So we always want to just make sure more people are seeing the things that you can do with it outside of joining a conference call. I just got to join a conference call. And so this is one of those features called Together Mode. If everybody, or if there are some people that have never seen it before.
And this is also a nice tool, activities directors and middle school coordinators. This is a great tool to let your sponsors know. Like, this is a great tool to actually, you're in class and you can see who's there without, you know, all the little squares. You can see who's sitting in class.
I can pin this gyro over here to the right-hand side and still see Together Mode.
Thanks, Tony.
Yeah, sure. And then just by hovering over here, I'll unpin you so we can continue to see everybody else. Okay. I'm gonna get
I see people still joining, so I think we're almost ready to get started.
Mr. Fox, there was a couple who were having difficulties getting in, so that's why they're constantly coming.
Not a problem. Tony, can you remute? I'm hearing a lot of feedback. Maybe it's all right. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. I'm going to give it another half second, and I'll start at 11:10 on the dot and go ahead and get this started as others are joining. We are recording, so we'll be able to share this with anyone and everyone as we move forward, but I don't like to start late. I like to start on time and always mindful of people's time. So we'll get started in less than 30 seconds. All right, well, good morning once again to the activities directors. I briefly met with you this morning, but also joined in today's presentation are the middle school coordinators. I'll be very brief in my remarks. I'm Reginald Fox, Administrative Director from the Division of Athletics and Activities. Joining us from the Division of Athletics and Activities is Susan Gyro, who oversees activities, handbooks, calendars, graduations. Those are some of the many things that she deals with. She's joining us. Activity directors knows her very well. And then also we have from the Division of Athletics, we have Mr. Fluid with us. Mr. Fluid, the middle school coordinators knows him very well. He deals with middle school athletics, as well as the entire district knows that he deals with supplements, among other things, as it pertains to trash pile and operations and things like that. If you can, as you come in, please make sure that your microphones are muted. That will make this process a lot smoother. If you have questions along the way, please put them in the chat. Myself, Ms. Gyro, and Mr. Fluid, we will monitor the chats during the presentation. But before I turn it over to our experts, I love saying the word experts. It's not every day that you actually come in contact with a real expert, but we have two experts with us today that's going to lead us in this platform. Real briefly, before I turn it over, I have not had the opportunity to speak to each and every one of you, but I do want to briefly welcome you back for the 2021 school year. And if you haven't noticed, things are a little bit different in Dade County Public Schools, and the way that we go about doing our day-to-day operations and carrying out education in Dade County Public Schools is going to be different. Hence, we're having a meeting today to open you up, to explore, to guide you, to train you, to educate you. Ultimately, the purpose of today's training is to enhance what is occurring as we reopen schools for the 2021 school year. And what I mean by that, activity directors and middle school coordinators, is what you should gain from this presentation this morning is a different perspective, which will allow you to engage students, to engage teachers on staff in a virtual setting that will allow extracurricular activities to occur at your school site. Your principals have already been given a very brief overview. They were very excited, I must say, from that overview they received last week. You're going to receive a more detailed presentation and training. Again, what you should take out of it is you should be thinking, saying, okay, at my school site, what does this look like? What does clubs look like in the extracurricular or the virtual setting? How can I facilitate that? How can I have a club rush? How can the teacher sponsors create their own teams to facilitate their clubs? So think along those lines and more in terms of what this tool can use to assist you, how you can use this tool to assist you in this process. I'm going to turn it over to the experts because I am not doing it justice, but I'm very excited about this tool when it comes to agendas and PowerPoints and websites and taking attendance and so many different things that it can do. But I would be remiss if I did not say that Mr. Franklin, who I just met a couple of weeks ago, and Miss Singh, who has assisted me many times over when I was principal at Robert Morgan, are very much experts in this field and will guide you through this process and make it a fun process along the way. So I hope that you enjoy it. Please ask questions, and we look forward to assisting you and supporting you during these changing times. So without further delay, I will turn it over to Tony Franklin and Michelle Singh.
Thank you, Mr. Fox. Michelle, you there?
I am here, turning on my camera, just switching windows.
Gotcha,
Good morning, everyone.
Yes. Good morning. That's a great introduction, Mr. Fox, and I'm glad I am blown away by the number of folks that are here this morning. So as always, thank you for the time that you guys are investing. Even if this is your first time, if you saw us, what was that, last week or any other time, we've been presenting in Miami-Dade for some time, several months ago, since everything started. So, but it's always a pleasure to share our enthusiasm and expertise as we have it. Michelle, where do we want to start? Because I'm ready to go, and yeah. I get overly excited sometimes because I'm like, okay, let's go show them this, and then let's go show them that. But you got to calm me down. This is why we work well together, because we complement each other. So where should we begin?
Let's start. I'm going to share my screen, and we'll start with the presentation, and then we'll go from there. But yes, Tony and I have a lot of passion for what we do, just stemming from our experience with seeing the success of using Microsoft Teams with students in various scenarios. With teachers in various scenarios. And that's why we're so passionate about sharing the knowledge or sharing the wealth, as I like to say, about Microsoft Teams and just Microsoft in general. So let me go ahead and share my desktop. It's coming through, 1 second.
Everybody just take a deep breath, relax. If you care to just sit back and watch, that's actually okay. So don't feel like, I'm watching some folks, some people are taking notes, and that's cool. That's not a requirement though. I promise you, because it's recorded, you'll be able to watch this at your leisure. So if you are one that just wants to take it in at first and before you start taking notes, that's completely fine. At the end of the day, my bar, Michelle, is always everybody walks out of here learning something new. And so if that's the only thing that happens today, fantastic. That's okay. We want you to learn more, but if you learn something new, that's fine.
All right. I think you should be seeing my screen at this point.
Yes.
Okay, great. Fantastic. All right. So let's get started then, Tony. So we have this picture of ourselves because we pretty much are tied at the hip, right, Tony? We've been working together for the past year, and we've been doing lots and lots of collaboration for really not just Miami-Dade, but for all the schools and universities that we work with. So Tony is a veteran in Microsoft with 18 years, right?
18. Woo!
And I'm learning a lot from Tony. But I come from Miami-Dade County. I worked in Dade County for 15 years before transitioning into this role as a Microsoft Learning Consultant. So we balance each other out.
Totally.
Okay, so just kind of as a reminder, some norms for the webinar. Please mute yourselves just to avoid any background noise that comes in to, interrupt the flow of the presentation, and to let you become familiar with the platform we're using. I know Miami-Dade has different platforms for meetings. We're using Microsoft Teams right now for this meeting, and so you should find your toolbar somewhere on your screen. It could be at the top, it could be in the middle when you hover. Not sure where it's located for you, but just to familiarize you with the icons here. So this is your sound, hand raise, chat is important, and then if you need to check your settings, you click on the ellipses and you can see those there. And the chat for this call, for this meeting, whenever you actually are in Teams, and on the left-hand side, there's a chat button. This conversation will appear there even after this meeting ends, so you can access anything that was shared in the chat. So just to let you know that. All right, so here's what we have planned to discuss with you today in our time. And it's quite simple. We want to show you real life scenarios of using Microsoft Teams with your, your audience, which are the club sponsors at your school site. But we want you to understand the features and the structure of Teams first. So we'll start there. Tony?
Yeah, it's super important, as we mentioned, and I apologize because we don't always get a chance to note everybody's level of understanding around Teams. But again, deep breath, and here's where we'll start. A couple of things. Obviously, many of you may have joined using the Teams app on your device, whether that's your laptop, your desktop. You, of course, have the option to download it on your phone as well. But whichever way you're joining us through the browser, what have you, here's what we want to share. First and foremost, understanding the space that you're in. So always just take the time to understand, look where you are. Don't get frustrated because there's always going to be an easy way, which will show how to get back to basically home base, if you will, no matter where you are in Teams. And then we'll discuss the different spaces. But for those of you, oh, go ahead, Michelle.
Oh, no. Whenever you're ready for me to move on. Just
Yep. Nope. I was just going to start. I said, but for those of you where, again, this might be your first time, hearing about the purpose of Teams other than just seeing it show up to you. And basically think of Teams, as Mr. Fox has said, Ms. Gyro has said, like, think of it as a platform. And that's where you start. And that platform allows you to do multiple things. Do you have to do every single thing in that platform? Absolutely not. I mean, we encourage you, guys. I'm biased. I get paid to say, yes, use everything in Teams. But at the end of the day, from my perspective, it becomes what you're most comfortable with and what you're trying to accomplish, as long as you understand that platform has many features for you. Michelle, you may, coming from the instructional side of things, right? I think there might be even a better way of approaching it, because I'm putting on my Microsoft lens, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So you want to have just a single place, just one place where you can do everything that you need to do for your students. That way it doesn't cause chaos and confusion. And I think the same thing applies when you're working with your clubs and activities. If you have a single place for the teachers and for the students to access everything they need to have these opportunities to do clubs and activities during a time where they're not face to face, Microsoft Teams is it. That was the first choice when Mr. Fox called and talked, about, what he wanted to do. Of course, Microsoft Teams was the first choice And the first thing that came to mind, because everything he wanted to do can happen in Teams. And you can see that here. You can have meetings, right? You can give files, access to files, and places for the students to have events and activities and conversations, and ways that they can communicate, and ways that you can integrate resources for them, like websites. So everything you can think of can be done within this single platform. Did we lose you, Tony?
No, I'm still here. Yeah.
Let's quiet for a little bit.
I'm not going anywhere, Michelle. Yeah. As mentioned, right? Teams on every device, and that's part of the conversation that we want to have in today, right? Thinking about activities, thinking about groups, thinking about clubs, thinking about all these things that can be accessed literally anywhere on the planet. You know, internet connection on your phone or any device that you have. So it really makes it easy to access, again, practically on anything. I've yet to come across where a device that's not connected to or a device that's connected to the internet, we're not able to use Teams on it. So look forward to that, as well as the browsers, right? So keeping in mind, supported browsers for Teams, so you can have this entire experience in a browser. You don't have to have the app. You can access everything from meetings to the channels to the clubs to the teams, all within a browser as well.
And this is important for the students who are accessing the clubs, because they're going to be on various platforms trying to access information. And what's great about Teams is the look of it. They have that same experience no matter where they are. They'll see channels listed. They'll see conversations listed, regardless of the device that they're on. They can even take a meeting on their cell phones, on their smartphones. Mm-hmm. Again, creating that flexibility for them because of just the functionalities of Teams. So here's a website, teams.microsoft.com/download. That would be where you can go to download the different applications. So even if you use a Mac, you can go here and download the Teams application for your Mac. Okay. Okay. Now we're going to get into what you see when you go into Teams. Okay, so we're going to throw out some terminology, some Teams terminologies, but we want you to understand the features and the functionality of Teams. So we start here with the home page, right, Tony? So what am I looking at here on the home page?
Yes, yeah. So keeping in mind, as I always say, take a second, look where you are. The home page, this is where you would see and you today, right, you would see all of the teams that you belong to. But potentially a student may see not only their class teams that they belong to, but also the clubs that they are a part of. At the end of the day, the team screen that you look in front of you, call it your dashboard, call it your main page of teams. This is where I see all of the teams that I can go into, join, participate in, etc.
And here's a quick tip that I actually learned on Twitter. It's a good idea to put an icon that is recognizable for that class, even for teachers. I've seen teachers who are deciding to put like their picture so the students, especially the little ones, can easily go to the team that is for that class if they see a familiar picture. So just think about, you know, what best represents your team or your club, and that's the icon, because the students are going to have multiple teams for their different classes and subjects. And so for them, they need to be able to easily spot this club or this activity. And imagine if they're part of many clubs and organizations, right? They're going to see several of these. So think about whichever, the icon that is going to best represent that team that's created.
Mm-hmm. Hey, real quick, Michelle.
Yeah.
Can everybody, I'm going to ask everybody to participate right now. You see the little hand at the top of the screen? Click on that hand if you're familiar with Teams, if you're comfortable with Teams. And again, if this is your first time and you're not comfortable at all, don't raise your hand. But go ahead and pop your hand up there if you don't mind. And let's see how many people are like, no, you know, I'm comfortable in Teams. I've seen Teams. I've used Teams. I know how to get to my teams that were created for us as a district. I've used the chat to talk to my colleagues. How many of you out there are like, you know what, I'm ready. I'm good with like navigating. Okay, I see a calendar out there. I know what those activity bubbles on the left. And I see a bunch of hands going up, Michelle. And that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, I see about half. So it's about 40 people that are familiar. So yeah, that's great that you're familiar. So we'll know exactly what to, you know, stress and what to go through pretty quickly, right? That gives us an idea if you're familiar already.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the hands. You know, this screen right here, Michelle, once you've clicked on a team, and for those that are, this is new, you know, I saw all the teams that I belong to. I saw all the teams that I could go into. And when I click one of those teams, I see a pretty standard view. Like all teams are kind of designed the same way in terms of the structure, right? Left-hand side, all of our icons, right?
Yep.
Middle of our screen, or literally the middle of our screen where it says welcome to Miss Singh's class. Like that's my canvas where I can see posts and things like that. But focusing on the left hand side, right? So this is kind of the me space, right? We call it the me space because this is where I go to chats. This is where I go to my teams. This is where I'm going to find assignments, my calendar, make a call. Me.
Exactly. And just to give you a heads up, you as an activities director and the teachers that are going to be club sponsors, you have access to this chat here. Okay, but students do not. Just to let you know, straight off the bat, in Dade County, this chat here is not available for students.
Okay, then once we tackle the me space, we kind of move to the right hand side, which of course would be the we space, as we would call it, right?
Right here.
Yep. And so now we're seeing the channels that we belong to, which we're going to go through. And did we mention we're going to have demonstration or have time to do a demonstration in hands-on as well, Michelle?
I don't think we mentioned it to them, but we certainly will.
Yeah. So you guys are going to get the opportunity to kind of create these things on your own, and we promise, it's a great activity. You'll get to do it firsthand. And then, of course, as I mentioned, right, the canvas here in the middle, this is where a lot of that collaboration happens, right? By looking at the top, I see different tabs, posts, files. Assignments and grades, not necessarily relevant when we're talking about activities right now, but just know at the top of that screen are my tabs. So when I'm looking for a conversation, it's going to be in posts. Hey, Michelle, I heard you put a file on our team channel. Guess where I'm going to go? The files tab, right?
Yeah.
So I think that becomes very straightforward once you understand the areas of the team that you are looking at when you're using Teams.
And it's quite simple, right? You have the me space, the we space, and now you have the search bar at the top, Tony. I know that's one of your favorite things in Teams.
Absolutely. Here's the scenario. How many times have you gone into Outlook and you've done a search and that wasn't the right word? You did a search. That's not the right word. Oh, you're looking for this. That's not the right word. In Teams, there are a number of ways in which you can search through conversations, through files, through people. You can actually look for people in specific conversations that you had. And so once again, thinking of the platform, right? Not only does this allow me to share a file or have a meeting, but now I have a place where I have persistent chat, where I can keep track of conversations over the course of an entire year in one place, as opposed to trying to dive through thousands of emails to find one thread that may not be the thread you're looking for.
Exactly. It could be a conversation where you shared important files, right, Tony?
Yep, absolutely. File sharing.
Yeah. Easy access to those files that you need, maybe some important minutes or bylaws or something like that, right?
That's right.
Okay, so hopefully that gave you an idea of the structure of the team, right? But just in a nutshell, you just need to be familiar with the app bar when someone refers to the app bar, and the channel list, and then your canvas, and that's just about it. Okay. So what we're going to talk about now are just some scenarios in which you'll be using Teams specifically with your clubs and activities, or the way that you'll show the teachers who are club sponsors at your school to use them in their clubs. So we're going to zoom in on posts and announcements, how to add, edit, and share files and folders, and how to use tabs to connect to resources. So ready to dive into this, Tony?
Let's do it.
All right, so we have in a team, if you notice, Tony mentioned the tabs that are at the top of that canvas. Those tabs contain files. There's one for posts, there's one for files, and then there's just a plus sign that you can add additional tabs. But all of those things kind of fall inside of each channel in a team. So every channel in a team comes with its own files, tabs, and posts. And I really think the best way to show that really quick is to show it really quick, right, Tony?
Yeah.
So here's the example. So on what you're looking at, these are all the channels in this particular team. Okay. If I click on the channel monthly meetings, I have posts, files, and I see a plus sign. Okay, where I can add whatever it is that I want to add. If I click on fun, I see posts, files, and there's a tab added. So no matter where I go, post, files, and tabs, plus sign, I am seeing that same structure of posts, files, and then tabs, whatever those tabs are, whether they are websites or links to files or whatever it is. So you just kind of have to understand that this is that structure that falls under the channels that you create in your team. And look, here you go, is the example that I just showed you. I forgot that flyer in the presentation. So
overachieving, Michelle. Overachieving.
Oh my gosh. So to give you more specifics, that you can, just give you a second to digest this page. You may not know what a channel is. A channel is ultimately the way you organize your team. I would say for, the clubs, the club sponsors, they don't have to have every single channel list that they see here, but they'll choose the ones and they'll come up with the ones that are best suited for their club. And you as an activities director, you may create a team for your club sponsors that you are able to collaborate and communicate with them on a regular basis using Teams, and you'll have different channels than what you see here. But I just want you to keep in mind that the channel is the way that you organize your team, and it could be about topics or themes or projects that you work on. It is just the organizational structure of your team. Now, Tony, how many types of channels are there? And when I say types of channels, what do I mean?
One of the biggest things about Teams is it's dynamic. You have your choice. There's no wrong number of channels. There's no wrong way to structure your team, but you just have a bunch of options that you have available to you to create, again, whether it's an activity, booster club, conversations, team meetings, basic activities, or again, in this example here, you see all of those channels on the left-hand side. You don't have to have those channels, right, Michelle? Like, this is a matter of choice at this point.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And in terms of, I would say, like, the functionalities of the channel, what if I wanted to have a space where I can only communicate with certain students in that club, right? Do I have that option?
Absolutely, absolutely. So you guys see the little locks on the left-hand side of the screen. Next to the first one I see is officers, and there's a nice little lock on there. And then peer mentoring, there's a lock on those channels. Those are private channels. So yes, you can create a quote unquote public channel, right? Everybody in our team can go into those channels anytime they want. And then I have the option to create a private channel. And hopefully you're seeing from this example here, an officer channel is meant, oh, shocker, for the officers of the club. Therefore, all team members don't need to be in there, will not be able to even see that folder unless they've been invited to that private channel. So private channels become a great way of not having to generate another team just to have a side conversation about the team that you're in. I see hands going up, and I'm wondering if those are actual questions or
let's open up. I think
let's do a pause for the cause and see how's everybody doing. Do we have any questions? I don't see any questions in the chat.
But Jennifer has her hands up. Let's see if Jennifer, do you have a question that we can help you with at this point?
Yeah, I have a quick question just because I see that the channels section can get a bit large. When something is posted in the channels, is there a way to view for new information that's posted, or would they have to go in and check?
Okay, so good. That's a really good question. So I caught the tail end of what you were saying because you went out, but I think I know what you're asking. When things are posted in the channel, ultimately, do the students get notified or do they have to check manually, right? Is that what you're trying to?
Correct.
Right. So Tony, you want to take this one?
Sure. So one of the things that we'll show and demonstrate, similar to how even in this meeting, when everybody started raising their hands, you saw a little red bubble pop up on top of participants. Same concept when something happens in a channel. If it's an announcement, if it's a post, you'll typically see either it'll turn bold, the folder will turn bold, meaning that there's new content, or there'll be a red bubble or toast is what we call it, right? So something that says, hey, something's happening here.
And you could see that on my screen. So I just went live really quick. So you can see that I have like there's that activities tab that has notifications, right? And so you can make a post so it actually notifies, it gives a notification to students, like Tony likes to say, a tap on the shoulder.
Exactly. And I'll throw even one more because yes, you're right. This is a long list of channels in there. If your personal view of this team can be different than my view of this team, which means that you can hide channels inside of a team for your, again, this is a view thing, not a, modifying the channel for everybody else, but you could hide some of those folders if you're not using them on a regular basis. Maybe after the start of the year, right? The handbook, okay, I don't need to see that every single time I come to this channel. I right click, I choose hide. It's still a channel. I can still unhide it, but I would not see it in that list, making it a lot easier for you to only see the channels that you want to work with on a regular basis.
Yeah. So yes, there are.
I'm sorry. Quick question, Tony. I have someone letting me know that they don't see the chat option. This is Susan, by the way, that they don't see the chat option. Would you happen to know why they wouldn't see that?
They probably came in. There was someone that came in as a guest because they didn't sign in their Office 365. So I'm wondering if it's that person that didn't see the chat. They can try to go out of the meeting, exit the meeting, and come back in.
Okay, and if they did join through their date schools and through 365, would there be another reason that they wouldn't have that icon?
Just a glitch.
Okay, so they should normally have it.
Just go out and come back in, yeah.
Okay, I'll let them know. Thank you, guys. Sorry.
No worries.
Okay. So right. Yeah. Just to let you know, there will be options where students see that there has been activity, right, in a team. And that could be by when they go here to this homepage, you see how these two teams here have the titles bolded. This one team has a little one to let me know there's a notification. I have an activities icon here. I have the number 2 to let me know there are 2 notifications. So there are ways that students, will get that little alert or that tap on the shoulder to let them know, hey, something is happening. I need to click here to see what it is.
That's it. All these little alerts and visual cues are meant to kind of help you know when things are happening.
Absolutely. Okay, so just to give you some ideas, when the teachers at your school, the club sponsors at your school are creating teams, these are just some ideas of channels that can be in their team. They don't have to use all of these. Okay, they can choose which ones. I would think that a big one would be meetings, right? Because if the students are not virtual, are not face-to-face, and you want to have club meetings and you want to do them like we are doing it now, it'll be beneficial to definitely have a channel for meetings. Okay, so just take a look at this page. We'll pause for a quick few seconds just so you can take these in, and I want you to think about other channels that may not even be listed here, because I want you to share ideas so that you guys can learn from each other as well.
Let's see.
And if you have questions at this point, please post them in the chat at any time, and we're monitoring the chat. But if you have to ask us something, you could come off mute at this point when we're pausing for the cause, like Tony says.
And I'm also okay. monitoring the chat, my text messages, emails. I'm trying to reply to help facilitate.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Okay, guys, this is the point when you can unmute, maybe add some stuff to these channels for clubs, etc.?
Yes, yes. So let's hear from you. What other topics for clubs and activities can you add to this channel list? So here's the channel list again.
Okay, and so I have a question here, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Michelle, we have meetings that we're going to cover.
Yeah, we are. Yep, we certainly are. And
So,
we'll
so,
talk about.
so I see Anna had a question about using Teams to speak to parents and students. So yes, you can create meetings inside of team channels. So we'll cover that. And again, generally speaking, the answer is yes, you can, right? I can have a Teams meeting, not using my own number, and I can use the parents or student can join a Teams meeting from whatever device they're on. We can have this same conversation we're having here. So that is an option as part of Teams, and we'll demonstrate that here shortly.
And I see, Jim, you're not seeing the pages. What do you mean by the pages?
You can, Jim, you can unmute yourself if you'd like.
And then.
Okay, and something about office hours. So that people don't get notifications. Would that be the busy?
Yeah. There are a couple of ways that you can stop the alerts that are happening. I mean, some of the defaults, you can actually choose how you're alerted for your teams inside of Teams, right? So once I log into Teams or even Office 365, I'm sorry, Teams. Inside of Teams, top right corner, I would see my name bubble, my profile picture, my initials. And when you click on that, you're going to see settings. And one of the settings is alerts. Although we're not going to cover it on this call necessarily, I would ask, I'm sorry, who asked that question? Angela, top right corner of your screen where Michelle, like, yep, you got it. Michelle is hovering over it now. One of the ways that you can kind of manage the notifications that you're getting would be in that top right corner on your name, click on your profile name and click on settings and then notifications.
Yeah. And just a little trick, what I like to do also, sometimes I'm just working, but I have the Teams app open just because I may be working inside of a team, but I'm not, there's nothing on my calendar. So I will set my status as do not disturb so that I don't get any alerts because I really want that time to focus. So that's another option too, Tony.
Yes, yes, I like that. Do not disturb.
Yeah.
Or appear away.
Yes, that appear away is good.
And I think, Danny, you have your hand up. Was that on purpose? Did you have a question?
Yes, I have a question. I'm trying to figure out how to email my 9th graders separately. And last year I added them individually, one by one, like each ID, and made up a group in Teams. And then I could send them a message on Teams. And then today the other day we figured out that in the email in Outlook, if I type the name of the team, it pops up and then I could send them an email. But I don't know how it showed up in my Outlook. And I only see the 11th graders and the 12th graders on Outlook. I don't know how to find my 9th and 10th graders.
Yeah. That's just the groups that are created. When you add students to a team, it creates a group. And that group can show up in your Outlook. And just because you email that group doesn't mean that the students are actually getting those emails, right?
No, so, they received them.
They're checking their Office 365 emails?
Yeah, no,
okay.
They checked their school email and they got the messages that I sent them, but I don't know how they came up in my Outlook. My 9th graders I created yesterday and they're not popping up in Outlook. How could we get it to work? Like I went on YouTube and I looked it up and there was an option called mail clerk, I think, to create it, but we don't have the same options on our teams when I go on my teams.
Okay. Those are Outlook group settings, Tony.
Yeah.
I know it's a little tricky with that because, we kind of have to see what you're doing. There are some guidelines to set up those Outlook groups, but when you create a team, it should auto-generate that group. Correct, Tony?
Correct. So every team should get its own quote-unquote email address as a group. So, and the question would be just how do you see what that email address is for the team that was generated?
Okay. So let's table that because we want to definitely address that. We know that's important. But it's gonna take just some looking around to figure out why it may not show up for you. I'm gonna just bring this over really quick just to show you.
Is there a quicker way than to having to copy and paste each individual ID number and doing like a large group, at least 20 at a time into the team, and then it pastes?
Okay. There are some little workarounds for that. And Susan, I know this is something that I emailed you and I shared the steps with you. So maybe you can pass that along to them, Ms. Gyro. Remember?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
There's
Yes,
some workarounds, but
I'll send that. But is there a way to upload, like through Excel? Like one of the questions?
Yeah, in those steps, there was a link to do that when you're creating those Outlook groups. So
Okay.
we're yeah. Let's Tony. I just wanted to show you here when you set up your teams. This is my Outlook. This is Dade School's Outlook, right? I am in Outlook, and I can see here's my inbox. Here are the folders that I have set up in my inbox, and down here where it says groups. Whenever you create a team, those groups are they should show up here because these are they auto generate those team names, and they really should show up here. So just to kind of let you know where they should be, and this is what you're referring to when you say that you've used this group to send emails. We have to see why it may not show up. If you added it yesterday, maybe it's taking some time to roll over. So we have to look into that a little bit to see why that doesn't show up. Tony, do you have any clue?
Well, and I mean, so yeah, the whole email thing is it can be an easy answer or it could be an admin. It could be an admin thing too, right? One thing I would ask Michelle is that when we go into our team channel, if you can click on the 3 ellipses next to the general, that's either going to show us an email for that channel or it's not. And if it does not, okay, so again, one of the fastest ways, I'm sorry, whoever asked that question, like if I go into a team and I click on those 3 ellipses next to my general channel, it should provide me with an email address to that channel. Fastest way to find what it is. And then of course, using that as a way to communicate to everybody that's a part of your team is one option, because then they would all receive a message. But ultimately, like for example, I'm trying to right click and I don't see email options based on my admin credential, or I'm sorry, based on my permissions. I don't see email as an option for me, even though I'm a part of Michelle's team as an owner.
Okay, so that's an admin setting. So there are things that the from the administrative level that the district turns off for security reasons, and those are just things that those decisions are made at the top, and like the chat, for example. So we have to find workarounds for that. So just what we're showing you are just like the I guess the most effective ways to use the Teams in the setting that you guys have it in your environment with the things that are turned off and on. So
Michelle, if I could just say something really quick, what you're saying is very true. Like the chat feature, it was removed. The student chat feature was removed due to security and safety. When Mr. Fox and I spoke to someone from ITS, they see it from a different perspective than those that are at the school site with the students. So you may not have access to all or everything. It just depends on what the district has set up for all of us. And really quick, Michelle, before you go on, what's the maximum number, or Tony, of members that you can add to a group? Was it 1,000? I don't recall. I know you've answered this question a million times for me.
Yeah, so
let me look up the exact number, but yeah, it's maximum number.
It's definitely well over the capacity that we have for Zoom. I know that.
Correct.
For a meeting or for a team?
For a team.
The team is set at 5,000.
5,000 for a team.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think that continues to go up. So
Thank you, because I saw that in the chat. Okay. carry on. Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
And let me cap the how do I get my students to even join a team. I think we're going to cover off on basically allowing students to self-enroll. That was a suggestion from Mr. Fox and Ms. Gyro, as a matter of fact, to a better way than adding students to your activities team. Now, classes, different conversation, guys. So let's get back into the, hey, from an activities perspective, like what's the fastest way for me to get students to join a team, which we'll cover here.
Right. Okay. So let's just jump into the files, being able to add files and folders. And I know that question about communicating with the students is important, but you know what? Let me see if we're there already. I want to get that out the way, Tony, because I know that's like at the forefront. Mm-hmm. In terms of communicating with the students, we think it's best to communicate with them inside of the team, right? Using the tools inside of the team to communicate with them. And they will get these notifications. They will get these alerts, just like they would have to go check an email because they get an email alert. Inside of the team, they would get these little taps on the shoulder. But you have to utilize the post feature to send messages to them inside of the team, to post a message or to post an announcement like what you see here. And that's what we're recommending that you do to communicate with them, because they're already going to be enrolled in your team. And so when you make a post, it's going to go to everybody in that team. So if you, and not just that, it not only goes to everybody, but you'll have like a history, right, of everything that you've posted in the team for them to go back and look at if they need to reference it before, rather than trying to sort through emails. So we're recommending you're communicating with them inside of the team, inside of the various channels that you have set up, that you have organized in the way that, you know, fits the needs of your club or activity. Tony, anything you want to clear up, add to that?
No. That's good. That's a good start. And again, we'll hammer it home with the examples.
Yep. Okay. So we definitely want to talk about files and folders, because this is the way that you'll be able to share content with the students and even the teachers who are part of your team as club sponsors. In a team, in a channel, you have a file section, and inside that file section, you can organize it with folders. So what you're seeing in this example here, in this monthly meetings channel, the setup is that you have a folder for each month, because guess what? Inside of these folders, you can have like your monthly meeting minutes, your presentation, the attendance, and everything that goes along with that. And it's there for the students to have access to all year. Okay, so you could see that here. Agenda, attendance, minutes, and whatever you need to add for that particular month, so that the students have that have these as resources to go back to in case they miss a meeting or they need to reference it or whatever it is. Okay, anything you want to add about those files and folders? This is just one scenario where you can use files and folders. Obviously, you can add like your bylaws, you know, you can add if there's information that comes from the district, like, for example, role models, they have a scholarship, and that's a PDF, and you can certainly add that in files for students to have access to as well.
Yep.
Another thing you can do is add websites as tabs and other resources. So there's lots to choose from. If you had a survey, let's say you needed the students to complete, you can add that as a tab in the team. So take a look at this. I'm here, it's opening a school. I need to collect information from the students. So guess what? I put a survey and I added it as a tab. And look, the survey opens up right inside of the teams, and the students can complete it and fill it out and hit submit, and they never have to leave the teams. So the tabs are a great way to integrate all different kinds of, if you're using different apps. Let's say you use Flipgrid and you want to put a Flipgrid tab here. So I'm going to show you an example. Here's a Flipgrid tab, and it embeds right in the team, right? And they don't have to leave to record or to view or anything. It's all here. So you have this little plus sign in every single channel in a team where you can add websites and PDFs and all these different kinds of files. Let's say during a meeting, you want to play a quick Kahoot game to end the meeting. You created a Kahoot game on the bylaws of the club to test the students' knowledge. You can integrate that. And so you have these options here where you can integrate it into the team, and the student never has to leave the team to view what you add. Okay, and you're seeing these examples as we're going through and kind of going back and forth. Here in this team, I have the actual 5,000 role models website. So it's embedded in the team, and the students, can go and click and access whatever they need to, because this website is added inside of the team, right? Never have to leave the team to access it. So just showing the different ways that it can be integrated, again, with the form, with a PDF, and, posts and announcements. Now we're going to pivot to that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
All right. How's the chat looking?
Chat is okay. Chat is okay.
Chat is okay. I have a text coming in that's not in the chat. Well, two things. One, if you guys know, or do we need to contact someone in the district regarding what features or options we're limited to? Because remember, like you said, like the chat for the students, etc. We don't have to answer them right now, but I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know if you guys would know what features we're limited to or not, or if we would have to contact someone in the district. And then someone was asking about, like, is there a guide for those teaching classes, not using it just for activities, but teaching an actual class that you could provide? Some people are also teaching this year. So those are the two questions we can address at some point.
The district actually has a series of webinars that were put together on Teams for the classroom. And so we could grab that link and share it. It's on EduVision. There are 5 webinars that were created just for that scenario. That's the resource.
I will grab the link, Michelle, and you keep going.
All right.
Perfect. And yeah, you can send it to me later and I can share it with everyone. That's not a problem.
Yeah, I think Tony's going to add it to the chat.
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Tony, this is I did receive a text in regards to how would this work as far as athletics or with sports?
And this is a, great question, right? And there's a bunch of options here. This is part of this conversation that, the reason why we're here is to, kind of get your thoughts around how you think this could work. Sure. Can I envision doing a live event using Teams to either broadcast a sports event? Sure. That's thinking large, right? Can I also use this for a basic, chess club? I could use this for chess club and still have a similar experience. So really the intent here is to say, hey, here's this platform with many options. We need you guys to kind of kick the tires a little bit and think through the number of ways in which you think you could use it. And then we want to validate those ways. If this is not optimal, if this does not provide you the right experience, then we're not saying that you have to use this. But everyone is probably going to have a different way that they're thinking of, hey, I could use it in this way for this type of activity, this type of event, even sports activities. Again, I'm thinking broadcasting the actual the event, but that's me, right? I think it's open to conversation.
And if I could just interject, right now, as we know, we're in stage 1. We don't have any athletics going on, nothing face-to-face, but this could be used perhaps as a tool to maybe have not just sponsors, but coaches reach out, meet with students virtually, give them conditioning, things that they can do at home, et cetera. We have to start thinking outside the box at this point. But just as a reminder to everyone on here, athletics is right now not, we're not doing anything with that until further notice because we are in stage 1. Thanks, Tony.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, so let's just kind of wrap up this conversation about, you know, what happens in the team, and this is this kind of goes along with what Tony mentioned. You know, there are lots of possibilities. We don't know them all. We haven't seen them all, but in order to understand what the possibilities are, you kind of have to understand how it would work, like how the tool, the basic functions of the tools, to see how it fits in your environment and in your setting. And so that was, you know, that's our goal for today, is to show you what the tool is, what it can do, so that you can then take it that extra step to fit it into your environment and in your setting. Okay. And so in terms of this last functionality, this is where we talk about the posts, where you'll have those conversations with the students and make those announcements with the posting that happens, so that the students will be alerted and know what's going on. So if, let's say, you have a virtual field trip coming up, you can easily make an announcement down here. You're gonna always see, no matter where you are in the team, you'll see this conversation bar at the bottom. So if I click announcements channel, there's a conversation bar at the bottom. So the recommendation when you're starting that post is to press that little A icon to expand it, and you'll see lots of options here. When you click this little drop down, it goes from conversation to announcement, and it just allows you to add an announcement that has a banner. You can type a heading. You see here where it says to mention someone. This is really important. That mentioning is very, very important, because when you mention the name of the team, okay, or the name of the channel, that's what gives those students that little activities ping to let them know, hey, my club sponsor just made an announcement and I need to go see what that is. So again, mention the name of the club or the name of the channel, and it will alert the people in the club or the people in the channel whenever you're making a post. Anything you want to add to that, Tony?
No, that's a good way. That goes back to my analogy of being tapped on the shoulder, right? You could tap one, you could tap all, or you could just put it out there and hope people read it. So there are ways of directing your messages inside of Teams using the @mention. That's a good one.
Yep. All right. So, okay, so let's, here's the part where we want you to think about what it looks like in your setting, and we actually want you to create that team in your end. Mr. Fox, do you want to share or say anything with them before we get to this part here, since we're kind of breaking in terms of topics right now?
No, you're fine. I'm working on a quick survey to integrate in, but
okay,
all along you're doing great. We're fine.
Okay, perfect. Okay, all right. So we want you to create a team, and when you're inside of the team environment, okay, when you create a team, when you're doing it for your clubs and activities, the option that we highly recommend is the other team. It'll say other options. So I'm going to walk you through that really quick, because this is what we want you to do on your end to practice it. That way you can come across any.
Sent it as a PDF. So
you guys remember to mute yourselves, please.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know it's your name.
Yeah.
Or you see your name.
Introduce.
Okay, let me mute.
Got it.
Okay.
Got it.
You got it?
Yep. Go ahead, Michelle.
Okay. Okay, so here again, I just clicked on team, and then I'm inside of that home page that we talked about that first appears. And in the top right-hand side, there's a button that says join or create team. When I click that button, the first option on the left is to create a team. So there are 4 types of teams. The one that is going to fit with what you all are doing with clubs and activities is this other option. And so when you create an other team, you'll give it a name. So now, because you all are activities directors, what I want you to think about is how you can use a team in your role as an activities director to support the club sponsors at your school. So maybe that's the first team that you create. So maybe for this team, I call it, I'm a little biased, pirate activities, because I worked at Robert Morgan for most of my teaching years. So I'll call it pirate activities, although I'm a Spartan. And so this is the team that I'm creating as the activities director at that school, because I want to invite all of the club sponsors in that team. So here where it says add members, this is where I can start to search for members by name. So I can search for, I'm just going to add Tony, and you can start adding them by name. Here is where, yeah, you do have, you can add them by name, or you can just give them a code to add themselves, which is a better option because you may have so many people that, you know, are going to be part of your team. So the team is created, okay? And I'm going to show you two things before we go off, and you do this on your own. Okay, so when you're in the team, the ellipses next to the name of the team, when you click it, there are two buttons that I want you to pay attention to. The first one is toward the bottom, and it says get link to team. So this is a hyperlink to the team that, you know, if you already have an email with all of your teachers who are club sponsors, you can easily send that in an email and ask them to join your team. The next option here is under manage team. And here is where you can go and you can go under the setting. And right here where it says team code, you will generate a team code. And then this is what you'll share with the teachers, the students. This is what teachers can share with their students so that they can self-enroll in the team without you having to add them. So again, you have to go under manage team, go under settings, and then you have to go under team code to do that.
So this is a great way for activities directors during your club recruitment, club fair, etc. Instead of giving them all the links, etc., or having people input them manually, put this code down with all a list of your clubs, and the students can join the clubs that they wish to participate in. Thanks, Michelle.
Okay. So I definitely wanted to show that to you, so you know that you really have three options to add people to a team or to invite people to a team. Adding them manually, okay? Number two, sending them the link somehow, either via email, okay? Or just giving them the code and having them join with the code, okay? So those are the three options for joining the team. So we talked about how to add members, how to generate the code, and how to add, let's look at how to add channels. So this little ellipses here, where it says more options, this is where you go to add a channel. And so let's say I want to name this channel meeting. I'm going to show you a little trick in case you didn't know this. When you press the Windows key and the period of the computer, it brings up an emoji window, and I can add an emoji, and then I can add whatever my meeting, whatever my channel title is. So I want this one to be meetings, just meetings. Okay, you notice here where it says privacy. This is where you can change a channel from standard to private. Remember, those private channels, I'm not sure what that sound is. Remember, those private channels are channels that you have to manually add the people that you want to have access to that content into. So here is my meetings channel. I click automatically show it in everyone's channel list. That way everyone can see that channel. And now that channel is added. So here's my meetings channel. So I can continue to build upon the organization of this team by adding the channels that I want, whether they are standard or private. So you add channels that way. So add channel. And I mean, those are pretty much the things that you'll do in the team. The biggest thing is getting the members in the team. So adding your channels, I would say, would be the first thing, setting up your structure, and then also adding your tabs. So if you wanted to add a website, you would click that plus sign inside of that channel and add your website. If you wanted to add a form, you would click the plus sign and add the form. So whatever you want to add as those tabs, those additional resources, you can build those in as well. And remember, you have 3 ways to share your your team with folks through the code, through the link, or just adding them manually. Okay, Tony, how are we looking?
That's good. That's good. And I think that should give, again, first pass at how you guys want to organize and create these channels. I think we're good.
Okay. I do, Miss Jara, you mentioned this, and I wanted to show, because I had a slide toward the end, I wanted to show you what that looks like, right? You mentioned that you like for activities fair, this is how they would share, right?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
So here's an example. So you have the club name, the club sponsor, that join code, and then that link that you pulled from the team, that join link. And even taking it further, if you've used Flipgrid before, if you've heard of Flipgrid, this is such a great way to add that SEL element into the team, where you can have like the club sponsor or the club officers record like a welcome message and have a QR code like on this Excel. And so when the students are looking at which clubs they want to join, they can scan that code and they get that nice welcome message from the club sponsor or club officers welcoming them, and it becomes more personal rather than just some links on a page. So just throwing that out there so you can see the possibilities of what that activities fair can look like.
Thanks,
Okay.
Michelle. And that's actually a great point, since, you know, this is not something they can do face to face. Having a welcome message, you know, might make them more familiar with, like, you know, who the officers are, or what, you know, give them more information about that specific club.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have a hand up. Wendy, do you have a question?
Yeah, I have a quick question, and I don't know if this is possible, because I was already thinking about conducting some type of virtual club fair. Would there be a way to, I guess, to go through me, but have each club kind of have a room where students can kind of pop in and actually talk to some of the officers if they had questions about the club, if we did like a virtual club fair, maybe during lunchtime or an after school event, virtually, obviously. Is there a way to have multiple rooms where the students could maybe just click on the name of the club and enter that room and ask a question to one of the officers?
I actually love that idea, and I can visualize that happening inside of a team. Tony, follow me here.
Okay, go.
So let's say, okay, the team is set up, right, by you, the activities director.
Yes.
So I create this team. I'm just going to use the one I just created called Pirate Activities. And so let's say I have a channel for each club that's in my school. So
Yes.
I have HOSA. Okay. I have inside of this team, add channel. I'm just DECA, FBLA. I'm just throwing these names out. So you just put whatever you want for the clubs. And so let's say you have this team, and then each sponsor or representative for each club will actually go into each of these channels. They will use the meeting function to start a meeting inside of that channel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they will be available for folks to pop into this team and see all the clubs and activities listed. And they can pop into any channel they want because there's somebody in each channel ready to meet with them and answer questions.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Seems like a good answer to me.
That's a way of having them not just read about it or hear a message, but actually join in and see what's going on, and do like a little visit, a virtual visit, if you will.
Yeah, I love that idea. That I don't know who that was that asked that question.
Wendy, thank you.
Wendy, that was great. That was great.
And as a student, I could hop from one channel to the other. You know, I want to get information, and maybe it's
And also, for quick question, because I know we don't, you know, as teachers and activities directors, we like to be very organized and micromanage a lot. Would the sponsors be able to, like how we're letting people in, would the sponsors be able to do that so people aren't jumping in and out, you know, constantly? Or what do you recommend for that?
So remember that they do have to have a way to share the join link or code with the whoever they want to be a part of this activities fair or team activities introduction. Mm-hmm. So in terms of being able to see who comes in and who doesn't, you know, as long as they enter the code or click on the link to join the team, that's how they're going to get in. You know, there's not a way to, like a meeting, to kick them out.
Right.
I mean, you can remove them, but you're not gonna, you know, they're in and they're in. And if they're completely disruptive, then, you know, their name can be sent and then you could just remove them from the team. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
But this is what we mean, Tony and I, this is what we mean when we say we can show you what you can do in the tool, but then you tell us how or what ideas you have so we can help you visualize it. This is exactly what we were talking about. Like, we never even thought about this, right, Tony?
And this is just, and everyone remember, this is just a short presentation. There's so many things that can be done. So as we navigate through all of this, and you know, you have ideas or questions, send those to myself, Mr. Fluid, Mr. Fox, so we can coordinate with Michelle and Tony, and it may, you know, we may be able to develop like more presentations, and you know, this is just like an overview for you all.
I agree, Ms. Gyro. Like, I think it, and I'm already thinking like, wow, we got to come back to this, because this could be really interesting to see what options people choose, right? Because you have a choice. You can do it this way, which I love it. I love this way to do it.
Michelle, I'm not sure if you touched up on it or if you're going to, virtual guest speakers joining for clubs, something like that. People were asking if outside, and someone outside the Miami-Dade County Public Schools organization could join. If you want to touch upon that a little bit.
Yes, so that's actually our next topic, right, Tony? We're going to talk quickly about meetings in teams, because you can have meetings in teams. When you're setting up and when you are setting up your team for your club, we had mentioned before, it'd be great to have a meetings channel. That way, inside of that meetings channel, that's where you schedule those meetings, right? And the benefit of doing it that way is it creates a history of every meeting that you have. All the conversation that happens in that meeting, all the questions that were asked are listed in that meeting stream. Additionally, if there is a recording from that meeting, okay, that meeting recording is right here as well. So if someone missed it, they can easily view the conversation and the meeting recording. So how do we get here to schedule the meeting in Teams?
Choose a channel, and then looking at the top right corner, Michelle's screen, you have that drop. Well, you have two options. So in the post is probably the better place, right? Or the calendar. Which do you prefer? Because there's two places, right?
Yeah. I think for me, the easiest way, just to make sure, I have to be in the channel. So that's why for me, it's easy to have to put a channel name as meetings, because I know that's exactly where meetings will take place. Okay. At the top, I click schedule a meeting, and now it takes me to that view. But look, it already selects the place where that meeting is going to be held right here, because I was already in that channel. So all I have to do is add my title. So if this is my October meeting, monthly meeting. Okay, I don't have to add required attendees here because it's putting it in the channel. And what happens when you place it in the channel is the students will get auto notified. They will get an automatic notification via email saying that a channel meeting is scheduled. So they'll get that via email, and it will actually give them a calendar invitation. So that's the benefit of doing it in the channel, because you don't have to worry about adding 500 names of all the people who are supposed to be in your team here. You just set the date, the time, make sure, again, you're scheduling it in the channel. It's always great to give the students or just anyone, whenever you're having any meetings, a heads up on what's happening in that meeting. So putting some brief agenda talking points here. If you follow a general meeting agenda all the time where, it's old business, new business, roll call, just put that. And then when you hit send, that meeting is scheduled right here. And so it's here for the students to see and for the students to join. And when that meeting starts, or when it's time for the meeting, the student just comes, they can click on the invitation in their email or on their calendar. They can come to the team and click here and hit join, and then the meeting starts, right? And then when you're in a Teams meeting, go ahead, Tony.
No, you're good. I mean, again, in these, hopefully folks are seeing that it is as easy as, staying within the channel and or scheduling the meeting this way, like all in one place. It can be this easy.
Yeah, and just a few things that you could do when you're in the meeting. Obviously, turning your camera off and on. Oh, look, I had a nice background. I forgot. so here you have background.
Hi, Michelle.
So you could turn these backgrounds on. Look at all the different options that you could put. Just in case, like I have my dogs in the back right now. You probably don't want to see them, so I could easily select a background and apply it.
Upload the banner for your club or activity or group.
Exactly. Look, here you can add new and add your own background setting if you would like. So these are just some of the features inside of the meeting that we're showing you, right? So you have the background, you have the recording option, okay? You have live captions. Students have that on their end too, where they could turn on the captions. So as the meeting is happening, they can see the captions along the bottom. Chat, sharing content. So sharing everything from your desktop to an application to a PowerPoint, the meeting presentation, to even a whiteboard to have the students collaborate on ideas. All of that you're able to do in a Teams meeting. Students can raise their hand. I mean, there's a lot, and those views that Tony showed you, like that together mode, that's right here. Once you have people, in the meeting with their cameras on, right, you'll be able to use that together mode option. So just kind of trying to show you some possibilities, and when you're having these meeting experiences with students, and then again, it sits right here in this channel. Okay, and it's easy for the students to just come into the meetings channel and say, hey, look, I missed September meeting. Let me see what happened. Oh, okay, I can see the conversation. So this is what I need to do. The students could go into the file section here, and the students can go into, okay, I missed September. Let me go ahead and see what that agenda looked like, who was in the meeting, what were the meeting minutes. Here's the presentation, and they have access to this. And just because they missed the physical meeting doesn't mean that they have to miss the content. Okay.
And another great thing with this, Michelle, activities directors have to monitor and make sure that the club sponsors are actually holding their meetings regularly and what they're discussing. So for activities directors, you can pop in and you can say, okay, great, they had their September meeting, they had their October meeting, this is who was present, etc.
Okay. Yeah, I love that. It just creates for you a history of everything that you need to have. This is your documentation. This is everything that's happened for you in your meetings. Okay. Tony.
Tony, you keep putting out this breakout room, and I know that our meeting was scheduled till 12:30. So I'm not sure if I mean, I don't mind staying on, but I'm not sure if other people have to go. If you could maybe talk a little bit about the breakout rooms.
Yeah. I keep on wanting people to be excited, right? And one of the things that should be coming end of the month is the inclusion of breakout rooms. And guys, again, this is, I hope people understand, this is not a Zoom versus Teams. I'm going back to the analogy. If you have two cars in your garage, you're going to drive the one either that you like, the one that you prefer, the one that's good for the day, the one that's not a convertible because it's raining. I mean, so you have these options. Breakout rooms are coming. And that makes it that much easier for that scenario of where, hey, I've got a room full of sponsors. They can hop in and out of these breakout rooms, either structured or unstructured. But at the end of the day, you will have the ability to create these breakout rooms for your groups or teams or classes even, and make it that much easier for you to organize both meetings, virtual meetings, video meetings, etc. So just look forward to it because you guys will have it in your tenant. Again, these are all just things that you have at your fingertips. So keep that in mind as you're making your decisions on how to build a team, how to build an activities club, how to build the rush. I don't know. Again, Josh, just showing you a bunch of options that you will have available to you.
Okay. I know, Mr. Fox, did you wanna say something real quick?
He may be muted. While we wait for him to come back, it was asking, someone was asking if you can allow the students to share their screen. So if let's say your club president is presenting, can they share their screen?
Yes, yes, you can definitely do that in the view here. Let me just bring this over. Everything is slowing down. You can change the, there we go, finally. So I can switch to participant down here when I click show participants.
Thanks, Michelle.
Sorry. I'm sharing my screen, so my camera's off. But if you hover over anyone who's an attendee, you can hover over them and make them a presenter. Okay, and so that will allow them to share their screen, and they come up here to presenter, and then when they're finished, if you want to make them an attendee again, you can do that. So you can easily do that, within your meeting.
And another quick question regarding, like, if a club sponsor creates the team, and the question is here, do they have to make the activities director a team owner, or would they join the team to have access? How would that work? Who would own the team?
So whoever creates a team owns it, and anyone else they add as an owner. The difference between the roles, the team owner obviously has full control, can delete, can edit, can do anything in the team. A member of the team can just participate and collaborate on files and add posts and things like that. The owner can adjust settings in channels where, let's say they don't allow people to post in the channel. So it's up to what you want for that person's role to be. Like if you just wanted to be a reviewer just to come in and view, then just make them a member versus an owner. But if you actually want them to come in and adjust things, you make them an owner.
Thank you.
Okay. I don't know if you're seeing my screen. Are you all seeing a Word document?
Yes, we see your screen.
I wanted to show this to you because I love this new feature. And Tony, we played with this when we first saw it, like a few weeks ago when it first came up, right?
Yes.
In Word online. So let's say, here's the scenario. You are having your meeting and your club secretary has to take notes. They open a Word doc to do their minutes. And there is this wonderful feature called Transcribe. So they hit, and the Transcribe is under the Home tab under Dictate. They click on that Dictate button, click on Transcribe, and they hit the play. They hit play, and then or record, and then everything that is said actually will transcribe, and they can add it to the Word document. And here are their meeting minutes. And again, it's picking up what's being said. This is what Tony was talking about earlier. I just recorded him just so you can see how it records. But this, the intelligence, right? The AI and the innovation with basic applications like Word is incredible to me with what's happening, with the integrations. And so just another way to make life easier is using a feature like Transcribe just to get the minutes taken care of.
I love it. I love it. We've done the Transcribe even in a meeting like this, and picking up both our voices makes it that much easier. So imagine meeting minutes getting that much easier.
Right. And this is all you talking, Tony. From my computer, it was picking up what you were saying.
And that's definitely a great tool. I had a question also about the chats. I know you're recording the meeting and you're going to send that to us so we can forward it. Can the chats be sent as well?
They cannot be, let's say, copied and pasted and sent. But remember at the beginning, I said that on the left rail for the staff members, not students, there's that chat icon. And when you click on that chat icon, you're going to see that this chat is persistent. This chat will stay here. So if I click this is all the conversation that has happened in this meeting. So even after I leave this meeting today, I just look for the title of this chat, or I can use my handy dandy search button at the top and search for this meeting title. And then I can see everything that's happened in this conversation here. And when I stop the meeting recording, you'll see that recording populate once it processes here. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you. Mr. Fox, I think you're there now. Was there something?
I am here. Miss Singh.
Yes, sir.
So what I would like to do as we bring this to a close, I wanted to take a quick survey. I call it, at the school site, I used to call it checking the pulse. And so I wanted to take a quick survey just to see how our participants feel as it pertains to the information that was provided today. So would that be something that you could project, or should I just put the link for the quick survey in the meeting chat?
Oh, you could put it in the meeting chat if you'd like, Mr. Fox, and you can also share your screen if you'd like. You have sharing options. You
all right, so I'll do both. So for all the participants, it's a very quick survey, and I'm going to share my screen. Just a second. It's asking me for permissions.
To share your screen?
Mm-hmm.
You are a presenter.
Not quite like Zoom. But while we work on this, because I wanted to bring it up. So basically, it's just a quick survey for you to click one of the boxes in terms of how you feel. Let me read it to you. So basically, I feel confident implementing Microsoft Teams. I feel I need additional support, i.e. professional development, implementing Microsoft Teams. I feel that I need my handheld to implement Microsoft Teams. Or the last one is, I have absolutely no idea how to implement Microsoft Teams.
More PD. I say more PD to get more in depth into little smaller topics. Break it down.
So can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Or was that you, Michelle?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I was sharing for you. So
We see
okay, thank you. And again, that's just some brief information that will assist us because we're trying to assist you and support you because we think that this will be very worthwhile at the school site. So again, just click one option, submit, and we'll utilize that information and share that information moving forward.
And again, activities directors and coordinators, thank you so much. I know that this is a lot of information. It's overwhelming. Some of you are probably going to have to watch the recording. Like I know I will have to watch it over and over. But I think it's just a starting point just to get us maybe going in this direction and help facilitate the start of the school year. I know that, you know, it's definitely something new, but we need to learn how to navigate through all of this and use it. Remember, we always say clubs, athletics and activities are like the hub of the school, the heart of the school. We know what's going on with most of the kids more than anyone else. That they come through our office. So by using this, we want to make this experience while they're home feel like they're at school as much as possible, because the social aspect of school is extremely right, Tony? Right, Michelle?
I totally agree. Listen, I have a kid, a teenager. She's in high school in Miami-Dade County, and I say this. I told this to Mr. Fox. You know, this has been a tough time for her. She's very involved in school. She's in, you know, mock trial, all these, you know, clubs and activities. And for her, this has been a tough time. She actually went out and got a job because of that missing social aspect. I mean, she doesn't want to be stuck in the house with me and her dad all the time and 4 dogs. She needs to see teenagers.
And I wanna thank Tony and Michelle. Like, I know we bombard you guys with questions. I know you guys get excited and you kind of like it because Tony thinks of other things. So we will definitely be bothering you quite a bit more and hopefully setting up more PDs to go in depth more, because I think after today, people are gonna have more questions and more ideas will come up, and we definitely want to be in Miami-Dade County, like at the forefront of using this. We have it, it's free to us all. So I think that it's definitely something that will be more interested and more conversations will come up.
Awesome.
And before we close, also want to thank Tony and Michelle, as well as Ms. Gyro and Mr. Fox. Presentation was great. To our athletic coordinators, I want to thank you guys for joining us as well. You know, this is going to be a challenging year for us, but this is something that we will get through. As of right now, Ms. Gyro, she stated earlier that athletics is on hold. So just bear with us and we'll get back with you on when we'll be starting athletics. So again, Tony, Michelle, thank you guys again for a great presentation.
Thank you, everybody. And we will send you this recording and we will send out that survey and schedule more PDs if needed.
Sounds good.
All
Thank you,
right.
everyone.
Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, Tony. Have a good one. Bye, everybody.